Hello, it's Molly with this week's Rituals of Returning video with our supplemental herbal allies as well as our animal ally for June and for this season of creativity, create, summer, and Tara. And you will notice I am back to my one-handed ways. I decided to put my little neck piece down and I'm trying again with just holding the phone with my hand because my stability is really kind of all right, and the breathing and movement is really distracting for me. So I apologize about that. And you know, if I was starting all over, maybe I'd be more pro with my videos, but basically this is what I have to offer. This is what fits into my own rhythm. And so be it. So be it. If I only end up with a few people watching, this is what I have to offer. And one of my prayers that I wrote a long time ago is I offer what I offer and I give what I give. And really, in many ways, that is enough. And that's true for all of us. We have to figure out what we can offer and give and have it be enough as it is with its wobbly fingers and imperfections, and just offer what we offer and give what we can give. So anyway, we're going to actually go ahead and start with the supplemental herbal ally. As I mentioned, that's what I have around my grid right now, as well as some roses from, I did our transition ritual with my friends, a transition ritual from May into June, and then I kept the roses from that ritual. And so they're on the altar as we kind of bridge between months. And so our secondary herbal ally for June is Linden, the Ya of Earth from the Herb Crafters Tarot. And so I see some relationship here between the flexibility of Linden and the flexibility of Willow. So I feel like that's a nice connection. But we're going to pop on over and see what Joanna and Letitia actually have to say about Linden. And it is this: return to a beginner's path. Oh my goodness, I love that because of all the back to the roots conversation and talking. And one of the things I've said about my idea of going back to the roots is to return to the beginner's mind. How did you feel when you were just starting out? What attracted you to a goddess-based or an earth-based path, or what attracted you to more, to everyday magic, to sacred living, to being an ordinary everyday mystic in the temple of the ordinary? What attracted you to that? Return to a beginner's path. Lighthearted as a blossom, grounded as a sheltering tree. Be flexible as you build your future. So an affirmation for you this week could be, I am flexible as I build my future. I am flexible as I build my future. And so she's pointing out this is a child here weaving a little fence, and it's haphazard and uneven, but effective and useful, much like my wobbly videos. So haphazard and uneven, but effective and useful. She is protecting what wants to jump beyond its own borders. So you might want to approach your duties with the earnestness of a child, proud to do your part. When faced with difficult work, choose reliable allies as companions. Linden is more than just a lovely tea. She is flexible, willing, and strong. I knew she was a good connection to Willow. Flexible, willing, and strong. She learns to protect her resources by surrounding them with what she loves. So an affirmation could be, I protect my resources by surrounding them with what I love. Just as linden flowers provide medicine of joyfulness, we can take on our tasks with a playful air. An affirmation might be, I take on my tasks with a playful air. So there are some suggestions for creating with linden. Embrace ancient ways by learning to forage wild food. Harvest fresh linden leaves for salad. I don't have any linden leaves that I'm aware of nearby, but anyway, that's a suggestion. So if you don't have linden leaves to harvest, maybe harvest something else that is local to you to use in a salad and that is obviously edible. Learn to build a wattle fencing from young branches to protect a favorite plant. Be flexible with your plans. Stop to enjoy iced linden flower tea in the hot summer as you work. Or really, any kind of iced tea might be a nice match for you during these summer months. So that is our herbal ally of Linden. And now we're going to come back to our house mouse with a message of working together. As somebody who lives in a rural area, I'm not the biggest fan of mice, even though they can be cute. Oh my goodness, they are also a pain. So let's be open-minded as we listen to the message of mouse, despite our personal reservations towards them. So Mouse is unobtrusive, slipping between cracks and scurrying behind walls. We notice her by the destruction she leaves behind: chewed wires, ruined books, food made inedible to us by her munching. Mouse churns through paper at an enviable rate, destroying in hours what it took years to create. And that's because Mouse rarely goes it alone. She has help. Mouse breeds prolifically. Where there is one, there is sure to be more. And once you have not mouse but mice, it's mind-boggling what havoc these small creatures can wreak. Work together, Mouse advises. You don't have to be big to be mighty. So, a ritual suggestion: get organized. If you've ever had a mouse infestation, you know how destructive little mouse can be. When you're aware of her presence, you keep dry goods, in glass jars and tuck cookies into the oven instead of leaving them out on the countertop. Papers are properly filed instead of left in open boxes in the attic, and grass seed is stored in bins instead of bags. Once your home is yours again, you might lose the habits that kept Mouse at bay, and then the cycle begins again. When we lose things repeatedly to Mouse, it is often through carelessness and moving through life just a little too quickly. Sometimes it's because we don't actually realize what we care about until Mouse has nibbled the only surviving photograph of Great-Grandma Jane. So let Mouse teach you to slow down and get organized. Take care of what you love. And if you don't love it enough to take care of it, let it go. So that is excellent advice there from Mouse. Take care of what you love, and if you don't love it enough to take care of it, let it go. So an affirmation might be, I take care of what I love. I take care of what I love. And another affirmation could be, I open my hands and let go, or I am willing to let it go. So create cyclical and ritual times to sort your stuff. The beginning of spring and fall are traditional. Clean out the clutter, get organized, and rescue Great-Grandma Jane's photo from the box in the basement. And so some reflection invitations here: small, mighty, and many. If you've ever had something in your life that left you raging, angry, distraught, or seeking justice, have you wanted to go big and make a scene, or do you want to stealthily get revenge? Maybe you've thought to call in animal energy, such as a venomous snake slithering in, or perhaps a tiger to rip and rend. But what would happen instead if you called on Mouse? Step into Mouse mind. Remember what it feels like to be small. Not small and powerless, but small enough to slip through cracks and fit under doors. To know the might of steadily chewing through pipes and stacks of paper and carrying the tiniest germs of destruction. When we are hurt or wounded, we often want to go in big. We want to roar. But what if instead we create an insistent and persistent army? I don't necessarily like that language of army, but let's go ahead and go with it. What if Mouse were the totem of the mighty? What would it feel like to use Mouse's medicine and go in small? So go in small. Consider how you might want to go in small. And we could look at this, instead of this kind of revenge on enemies, which is not really what I think about necessarily, but we might consider situations that are challenging us in our lives. So, and then how we might go in small, how we might work with or tackle or attack, if you don't mind attack type language, how might we tackle the challenges in our lives in that going in small. So the kind of, one book at a time cleaned off the shelf, one box at a time gone through from the closet, one basket at a time decluttered, one item at a time let go of. How might we tackle some ordinary situations, not necessarily things that we want justice or revenge with, but just ordinary things in our lives that are perhaps heaping up, piled up, and that are asking for some attention. That message about taking care of what you love, and if you don't love it enough to take care of it, let it go. So something might be asking for your attention, and how might you go in small and kind of nibble away at it, chew away at it until it weakens and loses power and it has the capacity to come to an end instead of continuing to challenge you. So that is how I personally would choose to look at this mouse thing instead of the stealthy revenge type of mode. But anyway, we need to work with all kinds of emotions, as are Willow and from last time's video, as well as Linden teaches us, working with our emotions and letting them flow instead of becoming stagnant and trapped. And that can include feelings of anger or injustice that need to be tackled by going in small. Okay, and then we're going to close with my other. I make 2 Tara cards, or 2 of the goddess cards for each season. So one of them is synced up precisely with the theme, and the other one is created intuitively with my other cards that I've drawn. So I am actually considering allow as my word of the year for next year. I know it's early to be thinking about that, but I always pick my words of the year very early, so it actually ends up being a year between them. It's just not on January 1st. It's more like July or August to July or August. So allow is a good one. I allow my life to be as it is. I allow ease. I allow joy. I allow discovery. I allow transformation. I allow myself to go back to the roots. So much can be held in allow. And then let's see. Oh, I create my life with joy. I used the same one, I think. Did I use that? I did. I create my life with joy. So, okay, good affirmation there. I create my life with joy. I allow myself to create my life with joy. And another affirmation from last year, I accept this moment. Perfect relationship to allowing. Let us allow ourselves to accept these moments. I accept this moment. And then another little short message, this one from Starhawk in her book, Truth or Dare. The terrain of the mysteries is the ordinary. To seek out mystery, we don't have to go anywhere. We must simply change our perception, our description, our consciousness of where we are. So how are you working with mystery in your days? And can you allow space for mystery? Can you allow space for mystery? There's another one, but it's a little too long to read because I'd like to keep this video shorter. So anyway, maybe I'll read it somewhere else, but there it is. It's another quote card. It's not like I'm trying to keep it a secret. I just have only so much time to be reading stuff. So anyway, a little prayer to close our ritual of returning today, and it is this. And this is an important one. May we be patient with ourselves, with our infinite dreams and our beautifully human limitations. May we listen deeply. I'm having trouble with the size of this. Oh my goodness. Maybe the longer ones, when they are reduced in size, become pretty tiny. I am aware of that, but it makes it hard to hold the video and actually read the tiny print at the same time. So let's start over at the beginning. May we be patient with ourselves, with our infinite dreams and our beautifully human limitations. May we listen deeply to our heart's longings and trust the wisdom that whispers within. Grant us the grace to pause each day, to drop into the rhythm of the sacred, remembering always that we belong here, where ordinary moments delight us. May we never forget we are woven into a magnificent web of magic, supported, connected, held. May we keep our eyes open to miracles and our hands open to possibility, receiving what this day offers with grace, with wonder, with love. We are magic. We are connected. We are enough. So may you create your life with joy. May you be willing to weave imperfections into your offerings. May you work together and go small, but be persistent and insistent in creating the life that you love to live. Thank you so much for being here. Keep living your magic, everybody. Bye-bye.